Hi there, this is Dilys Gaihan and welcome to the member showcase for the month of April from our group Inspired Selling. And just to give you a little bit of background on this, I run a closed private Facebook group called Inspired Selling, and it's specifically for business owners who sell to bigger businesses. And it's a place where you can ask questions, you can add your insights, you can get motivation, you can be held accountable, collaborate with like-minded people, but more importantly, become known for what you do. And each month I interview the person who's been the most interactive in the group. And last month that was our very own Sully Ali. Have I pronounced that correctly, Sully?
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely
Fantastic.
correct. Yes,
Fantastic.
thank you.
And Sully is a personal leadership coach, and I'm really excited to talk to him more because this sales and marketing is my expertise, but of course within that is sales leadership. So I'm really excited to see what Ali is going to talk to us about today. So to begin with, Ali, tell us your story. How did you get to where you are today?
Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity, Dilys, and I'm really excited to actually speak with you and help and also provide value to the people in the Facebook group. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you indeed.
My journey started. I used to work for a housing provider. I worked for 10 years for a local kind of housing association, and my role has always been around kind of helping other people. My role at the actual organisation was as a community engagement officer. So it was all around kind of working with community groups, working with people, delivering training, and just generally supporting people. So I've always been a kind of people's person. Prior to that, I used to work for an environmental charity called Groundwork, and that was kind of in the community once again, delivering community projects. So, and then my background is also, I've been a youth worker as well. So I've always had that kind of interaction with people of, different types of people. And I just love kind of supporting and empowering other people. And in July 2014, things took quite a turn in my life. My father passed away quite suddenly. And at the time I was still working full time, and I was always I knew that I've been in this organization for the last 10 years, and my passion was no longer kind of there. So it just wasn't serving me to kind of continue doing what I do. Even though I love the people that I worked with, but I knew I needed to do something quite different, and I started to look into coaching. So at the time when my father passed away, I thought this is quite kind of the wake-up call for me, because if I want to do something that I'm passionate about, if I want to do something that I'm something that actually is going to make a difference in people's lives, then I need to do it now. So I just, at that time, I started looking to personal development. I started reading books. I started to really work on my mindset, attending kind of personal development events, networking events, and really seeing kind of what there was out there. And that's how I got into kind of coaching, and I looked into the route of kind of life coaching. And that's how I really started my journey. So I was still working full time, and I used to coach on a very casual basis, family and friends mostly. And that's how I kind of started. And it was only last year, so it's been about 14 months now, when I transitioned from my full-time job into my own coaching and training practice.
Gosh, well done, well done. And I'll tell you what I loved, because obviously I did a little bit of research before I came on here to interview you. And on your website, I loved this. And you said, I have a desire to inspire and a passion to serve by reaching out and empowering people all around the world. My life's mission is to help individuals operate at their very best and create an extraordinary and fulfilling quality of life. And I
Yes,
really love
absolutely.
that. And what you've just said, in fact, has kind of mirrored what I thought about you. We've never met before. We've never spoken before, other than in the group. But I just knew that you had this this ability to connect with people. And when you said that you were, did you say you were a social worker?
It was community engagement
Community
worker.
engagement. I just knew that that was the sort of thing that you would be involved in. And when I read this on the website, I thought that has really just consolidated my thinking about you, despite the fact that we've never, in fact, spoken face to face like this before.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Sully, on taking that step, because I know it's a big, bold step to leave the security of the corporate world or an employed role and step out on your own, and you have to make it work.
Yes.
But I've been reading Simon Sinek's Start With Why, and when you've got your purpose, it really does move you along and help you overcome some of those obstacles that, of course, you're going to come across as a self-employed person. So let's talk more about your business then. Tell us who you love working with, who are your ideal clients.
So recently, when I first started my business, I needed to have that kind of clarity. I needed to focus on kind of dealing or supporting, you could say, the best clients or people that I actually can support with the best of my ability. So when I first started, I was working with kind of everyone, and it was hard work, because trying to market to everyone is difficult, and that's always been a challenge. So, but probably the last 6 months, I've now started working with new entrepreneurs, people that actually are new startup businesses, people that want to actually get more, attract more clients, but also get more confident as a business owner. And most of my clients have been people who want to think about a business or have a particular idea, but they just don't know what to do, or they just don't know kind of where to go from there. So I help people gain that kind of clarity, become more confident as a business owner, because as a business owner, it can be a lonely place, especially when you've been, working with a team of people, or you're working in a corporate world. And then, so my ideal client is people that are new in business, people that are aspiring entrepreneurs, coaches who want to get more exposure and really develop their own coaching business.
Fantastic. And I'm sure you've come across this too, that many people, when they start the business, and in fact, this doesn't just relate to those who start the business. Sometimes, and often I find this with people who are more experienced, is that they're expert in what they do in terms of their skill and their expertise, but they're not expert in bringing in clients. They're not expert in sitting down and really getting that clarity on paper to look at the direction in which they're going. So that's hands up to you, Sully. That's brilliant. You're very much needed. So what are the problems then that you typically solve for your ideal clients, and what are the outcomes or the benefits that they enjoy and experience after working with you?
So there's a wide range of areas which I support clients with, including goal setting. So that could be goal setting for their businesses, or goal setting for in their personal life. So it might be to do with their health, it might be to do with their relationships or their well-being, or generally kind of if they want to set some goals in their life and they just don't know kind of where to start and how to, I help them to stay kind of on track and accountable to those goals. And then one of the other areas is mindset. So mindset is quite a big area, especially kind of, changing or looking at mindset in a different way. So rather than thinking that, I'm not, I've come across people which don't actually value themselves in terms of they don't value themselves, how much they are, people are willing to actually pay for their services, or they're charging too less, or they're in a mindset of, not actually constant learning or growth, and they want to know everything or try being perfect at everything that they do. But kind of through my own life and my own lessons that I've learned, I think it's, as a business owner, you won't know everything. And like you said earlier on, as a business owner, you can't actually, you need focus and clarity. So one of the examples that I remember working with a client was, I worked with this guy he had low confidence, low self-esteem, and he just didn't know kind of where to go in life or which kind of direction to go. So he came at a bit of a crossroads in his life. So I worked with him for 6 months, which helped him to gain more confidence, become a better version of himself. And he was really kind of suffering from anxiety. So when he was going out and about, he just couldn't kind of speak to people, strangers, or interact with people in groups. So I worked with him, helped him, and really empowered him to, really have a new confidence, a newborn confidence within himself. And he actually started his own self-employed business. So when he was working, he was actually working part-time, but he didn't really like the job that he was doing. So from being this person to having no confidence, no self-esteem, not actually believing in himself, to becoming somebody who's actually starting his own self-employed business. It was actually yoga. He was starting his own yoga classes.
Wow.
So, he really came through a really kind of an amazing transformation, an amazing journey that he'd had over the last 6 months. So there's
this has a ripple effect as well, Sully, doesn't it? It's not just with the individual. It's this ripple effect across how they perform at work, how they perform with their employees, if they've got employees, with their families, everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a domino effect of
it does.
When somebody finds that inner confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe that once you've seen that you can excel in one area of your life, you actually challenge yourself and push yourself even more. And it does have a ripple effect, and it does make an impact in different areas of your life. And that's a positive impact. So it will start to affect your relationships, that could be relationships with a wide range of people in the workplace, but also personal relationships. Also, you can see a development in your health, in your mental well-being, in your physical health, in your in your general well-being. So it does have a massive impact in different areas of your life.
And how do you see working with leaders? Because I know you're a personal leadership coach, as well as working personally with individuals. What do you find are the problems with a lot of leaders or managers, if we want to use that term?
I think some of the areas that I've kind of, in my experience, I've come across are people like, they are good at what they do, so they're good at their actual jobs. Okay. To actually,
I think I've lost you there, Sully.
Hello,
I've got you back.
Sorry about that.
That's all right, no problem.
So I think people are good at their job. So, they might have been in their job for 20 years or, a long time, and they're fully confident on what they do. But when it comes to kind of actually supporting other people, they are not as confident because, they are afraid what either, they've got people that are more experienced than them, or they've got people that are, they're worried about kind of employee legislation and things like that. So I found people are not as confident as they want to be, or they're not as actually they don't have that self-belief that they can actually achieve something, whether that be career advancement or moving into in a different direction, and they believe that the options are limited. So so it's key that we do work with people who who want to actually see their life in a different way, and let people know that there are opportunities out there. You just got to kind of find them, and the opportunities are all around us. We just fail to see them sometimes.
And leadership is a skill in itself. And funnily enough, I was talking to someone just last week, and he was talking about feeling like an imposter, and you'll have heard this imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And he said, I'm so worried about getting found out that I'm not as good as people think I am. And actually he's very good, but this negative chatter that's going on in his
Mm.
head is really having an effect on him and lowering his confidence.
Yeah.
And, I suggested to him that he thinks about going on some kind of leadership program or getting a leadership coach or whatever, because how are you supposed to know these things?
Yeah.
You're elevated, your position's elevated and you're promoted, but
Yeah.
being able to do a particular job and is very different to being a leader of people who do the job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think as a leader, you need to be that role model, and you need to be that positive, that example to show the
Yeah.
people. You need to be a walking, talking example of what you are doing and what you
Mm.
are, what your passion is.
Yeah.
But any kind of development and self-development starts with the individual. So you got to be confident in yourself before actually empowering other people to be that person that,
Yes.
that they can be.
Yeah, absolutely right. So from your experience then, Sully, what would your top tips be for other business owners who are in our group, Inspired Selling?
Yeah.
Anybody who's listening or watching, by the way, if you're not a member, please come and join us, Inspired Selling on Facebook. Um, you have, you said it was about 14 months ago that you'd started properly.
Yeah.
What have you found in that time that's worked for you in terms of bringing in new clients?
I think for me, it's a consistency,
I love
and
that.
that's a big one. That's a
Yeah.
very big
Huge.
point, because if you're not consistent with anything anything in life, really, you're not going to achieve the results that you want.
Mm,
So whether that be social media, I'm on social media consistently in terms of my, postings are to do with my work. And when I started my business, a lot of my clients actually came through social media. So a lot of my clients came through Facebook,
hmm
because I was really consistent on it. And I had a phase where I was really kind of targeting the right kind of people that were there. So the clients that I were working with. So I think consistency is key. You got to make sure that you show up every day, and you got to
Yeah.
make sure that you actually are there for people. And
Mm.
it helps with your exposure. It helps with your branding. It helps to really keep people on the forefront. So when they need when they need some guidance or support, you'll be the first one that they will think about.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of show up and remain consistent and be there. One of
And I
the other
know
things
people,
is,
sorry, Sully, go on.
yeah, go on.
Now, I was just going to say one of the terms I use is expose yourself, metaphorically
Yes.
speaking, of course, that
Yeah.
you are out there and that people do get to know you and what you do. You create that know, like, and trust. And
True.
then it may be that they're not looking for your product or service right now, but when they are,
Absolutely.
you would be the person that they
Yeah.
think of because you've created that top of mind thinking.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think one of the big lessons for me is it's about building positive relationships with people.
Yeah.
So always invest that time in people, invest that relationship, and show a genuine care, and show a genuine, care, and your focus, your attention on the person.
Mm.
And doesn't necessarily mean that, like you said, that they're going to buy from you, or you want them to, just go in with a hard kind of sell. You got to build that relationship. You got to nurture that relationship, and I think that's been a really valuable lesson for me. Because when you're first in business, you're a bit naive. You think that, yeah, you're going to have a website.
Mm.
People are going to be come knocking on your
Come
door.
in
People are going
droves.
to absolutely. Well, that's not the way it happens. You got to kind of build that relationship, nurture it, and then they will, know, like, and trust element in your business, and that's important. With consistency.
hmm
And then one of the other things is resilience. I think that's hugely important as a
Mm.
business owner. You are going to have challenges. You're going to come across people that won't believe in you. You might come across people that are not of the same opinion as you.
Mhm.
But you know what? That's their opinion, and their opinion does not. It doesn't change your kind of reality, and you
Right.
shouldn't let that get to you. So just carry on
Yeah.
regardless of what challenges you come across. And yeah.
And the other thing with resilience, of course, is that if people don't agree with you or or not attracted to your style, then that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Because you need to attract those who are the right fit.
Yeah.
And those who are not, then that's fine.
Yes.
You know, and
Absolutely.
I absolutely love those three things: consistency, build relationships, and resilience. Really great advice for everybody. You know, whether you're selling B2B, B2C,
Yeah.
whatever.
I'm
Really,
sure
really
there's lots
important.
more. There's lots more things you have to think about as a business owner. But those are the key things that have come to my mind, and I think are probably going to be beneficial to a lot of people out there.
Yeah. And I've seen you, I'd say put yourself out there rather than expose yourself, metaphorically speaking. You know, when you've been going to events and you do a short video,
Yeah.
and you, as
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
as your posts and
Yeah, I
the
think that's
other
one area that I do need to remain consistent on in terms of videos. And you know, you have people that enjoy written posts, but I think video is very powerful, very impactful,
yeah,
and it's probably probably the best and most effective way of getting your message out there.
yeah.
And it's
Oh,
very
did you
engaging.
see my interview with Sue Ferreira?
Um,
It wasn't a showcase. It was an interview, because this is a 71-year-old lady who was an anaesthetist for 40 years,
right.
went through a nasty divorce, and then reinvented herself.
Yeah.
And she's got about, I think it's 8 months. She's got 100 videos on YouTube.
Wow.
She
Wow.
is amazing.
Yeah.
She's been asked as a keynote speaker, and you know, she's sought after now, and it's
Yeah.
all through this being out there, being seen, getting your
Mm.
message out so that people, so it resonates with them, and they get what you do and you can do for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've watched that one, but I've saved quite a lot of posts from the group, which I'm just working through at the moment.
Right. Well, thank you. So for anybody watching, why should they join our group, Sully?
I think it's full of value. It's absolutely amazing, the content, the value, and the opportunities within the group are amazing as well. And there's so much knowledge, so much expertise. It's
Yeah.
a very diverse group, and somebody who's not a part of the group are really missing out.
Mm. I love the diversity in the group and the expertise that's in there, and we've got
Yeah,
members worldwide.
absolutely.
So anyone
You know,
who's watching,
I've been part of a lot of groups, and this group is different to many of the groups out there.
why is that, Sully? That's interesting. You
I
say
think
that.
it's just obviously it's not very spammy, it's not very salesy like, and it's just you know, if you if there's any kind of advice or guidance needed, then somebody will respond to, you know,
Mhm.
anyone within the group very quickly and professionally.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. That's lovely, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Sully. And I'm looking forward to following your journey, this relatively new journey, really. And
Yes, yeah.
you are having an impact already. So well done on all of that, and thank you for being our member showcase business this month. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for having me on the show. Yeah,
You're welcome.
appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Thanks a lot, and have a wonderful week.
You too. Bye.
Bye for now. Bye.